What is up, everybody? Skratch coming up with another Raid Shadow Legends video. Today we got Ash on the channel, guys, and we're gonna talk about champions that we got wrong. Either we thought that they're gonna be super powerful and they're not, either we thought they're gonna be crap and they are absolutely amazing. But what's up, Ash? How you doing, buddy? Nice to have you on the channel.
Skratch, it's a pleasure to be here. I know I just told you this on my channel, but congratulations being an 8-day dad. How does it feel, man?
Yeah, it feels amazing, dude. Like, honestly,
Great.
words can't describe it, in my opinion. Like, a lot of people told me, Skratch, you know, he's gonna be like this, he's gonna be like that, you're not gonna sleep, Skratch, you're gonna be doing this, but words cannot describe it if you haven't experienced it yet.
You got a little life that you brought into the world. How cool is that? Not just the world, the universe, man. It's really special, and at least in my experience, the longer that goes by, the more time you have to bond, the more it's just like gonna, I don't know, to say change your life, it's just a cliche understatement, but congratulations again to you and the missus, man. That's really awesome.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And guys, by the way, we actually recorded the video on Ash's channel. Head over and check it out. It's gonna be about the new season nukers, what we have going on at the moment with everything in the game. Quite a few things changed, so definitely keep an eye on that. But Ash, I'm gonna let you start today because you're the guest here on the channel. What's the one champion, the first champion that you have on the list that you were wrong? Either he was too good, either he was too bad, you know?
All right, man. I have some old school and I have some new school. You pick.
Yeah.
You want a new school champion or old school champion?
Well,
first?
I consider myself old school, so let's go with that. Yeah.
All right, let's do it, man. I'm going to go with what might sound like a super obvious choice, but it's actually a dwarf legendary champion. Goes by the name of Miss Molly Tankard. Listen, everybody knows that Molly's a beast in the arena, or at least she was before Stone Skin. Now she's pretty good, right? But she's fast, she's amazing, she revives, she's got the 2-turn provoke. Fantastic. But for me, I actually made a video about this, man, but like, I don't know if you've tried her in Hydra, but I never even gave her a shot in Hydra, honestly. Like, she's just been kind of sitting in my vault, meaning that, like, she's a champion I used to use all the time in Arena, but now I just kind of moved on to other meta, given the meta. And it's always assumed that, yeah, she'd be a good provoker for Hydra, but I'd be taking a pretty decent damage hit, you know? And then I just totally underestimated. I knew about Rowdy Crowd, right? Because I used her a lot in the Arena, but I totally underestimated how much a 25% turn meter boost on all my champions when hit by a boss, how much that would exponentially increase the damage of all the other champions on my team. It really did gain me about 30% extra damage, 40% extra damage in that neighborhood on my personal best, just by putting her in there as my new provoker. So Molly Tankard in Hydra specifically, I was so wrong in terms of thinking that she would have a negative impact on my damage. Not only did she keep that head on lockdown, but she also she revived for my team, and she just endless turn meter increases. It was insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that on a 1-turn cooldown, right? Because a lot of people tend to forget about her passive is great. And the one thing that I forgot as well, here I am, I forgot that it's actually more turn meter when you get hit by a boss, you know, like 25%. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's actually crazy.
It's like,
crazy.
Think about how valuable I don't know, a 30% like Nekmo Thar or Seeker on a 3-turn cooldown is to your team, and just think about that happening every turn. It's wild, man. It's wild.
100%. Yeah, that's actually a very good call on Molly. So
thank you.
I'm actually gonna go with what I think that I thought that was great, but it wasn't. You know, like I really had higher hopes for this Glitchia Soul Guide. I really thought that yes, the answer to our prayers is finally here. The #1 Warlord counter, the number one Yumeko counter, and it's not the case, guys. Fake alarm. We've been deceived. So basically, she looks pretty good in terms of stats. Like, she definitely doesn't have bad stats. Defense-based champion. The freeze on the A1 can be pretty decent. Then you have a weaken, a chance to steal a random buff from each enemy under a freeze. The A3 places block debuffs on all allies. That's great. You have the immunity. You have a chance to land the freeze. But this passive, man, these champion skills cannot be put on cooldown. Whenever an enemy tries to put either these champion skills or an ally skills on cooldown, places a freeze debuff on that enemy and has a 50% chance of denying the cooldown increase effect. Now, when you see this, you think, okay, Warlord tries is a 50-50 chance to block it for the whole team. But it's not like that. It kind of like goes from a champion to a champion to a champion till it reaches your entire team. And it's just such a gamble, and it's just so inconsistent. So weak, man. So weak.
Yeah, man. I tried to talk myself into Glycia myself, right? I built her all out. I put her in some of my best gear, right? Because it's similar to you. I was like, okay, finally a counter to Warlord Yumeko, you know? And I had similar results, right? I think one thing about this that I do like, though, I will say, is that freeze that will ignore basically block debuffs, right? That's a really cool dynamic that they have there. But it's just one freeze after they use their ability, right? So it's just like I feel like it kind of sounds a little bit better than it is, I guess. I almost think that a good way to buffer would put that freeze on all enemies and keep it at a 50% chance, so it's not like totally broken. But a unblocked, unresisted freeze on all enemies, like that would be a counter. Do you think that would be too strong, or how would you buffer if not?
I think it won't be too strong considering what's the current meta. Lots of stone skin, lots of block debuffs, lots of polymorph.
But it will ignore block debuffs though.
Yeah, but it's still the stone skin. Sorry, so yeah, block debuffs will be dropped.
True.
It's just that stone skin. The main thing that I would really change on her is that percentage of denying the cooldown increase effects. You know, like just make it higher, maybe? 75, and don't make it in the coding that it goes for each champion separately. So if the 75% chance proc when you hit me, do it for my entire team. Don't do it for me. Then again, is a gamble for the next champion, another gamble for the third, and another gamble for the fourth champion.
See, that's
how it
Skratch.
works. And we didn't knew this only when we've seen it in the coding. You know.
I'm not sure if I agree or disagree. I'm just gonna be real with you, because like part of me, like, I guess I'm one of those people in life, right, that I like mitigating consequences, even if it means it's going to hurt a little bit, right? So, like, I'll take a little bit of pain in order to avoid big pain. So, I think with that being said, if it makes sense, like, I think I kind of like, I don't know, I haven't thought a lot about it, but I think I kind of like that it checks each champion individually. That way, at least I can get some win out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. I get you. I get what you mean, yeah.
I don't know. I'd rather just see. I think we could both agree, though. 75% would be a lot
much
better. yeah. All right, cool. Better. I guess I'll go with a worst champion too.
Who do you have?
I'm gonna piss off all your viewers, I feel like, dude, on this one, because this one hurts, man. It really, really hurts, and it's Supreme Kale. And this is like one of those moves where you go to a movie or something, you know, and your expectations are just through the roof. Right? Because I got Supreme Kale.
Just think of Justice League, you know? Think of Justice League.
I didn't see it, but I can imagine, right? But that's how I felt with Supreme Kale, right? I got him. I was so excited, man. I'm like, an AoE weaken that can't be resisted. He's got poisons that can't be resisted. He's got increases that can't be resisted. He's got everything. Increased accuracy, decreased resistance, and turn meter. It's just like, dude, I got really excited about him. And then the crazy thing is he's not, I want to be clear, he's not a bad champion. I'm not saying he's a trash champion. I'm just saying that my expectations were up here and he landed way short. Like, he's not a good upgrade anywhere in the game for me, anywhere. So now he's a vault guy for me. Again, I want to be very clear. I'm an end game account. You know, I have a lot of champions in this game, so take that into consideration. But with that even being said, I thought he was going to be a pretty dang big upgrade, especially if on one of my Hydra teams at the very least, you know, one of my 3 teams, and he just wasn't, unfortunately. So I have to say that I guess I was disappointed in Supreme Kale. It sounds silly to say because his kit reads so well. How do you feel about him, man?
100%. I actually got a lot of hate for saying this from the very beginning. You know, I always said Supreme Kale is definitely not the best out of the starters. He's amazing as a progression champion, but it's so easy to replace him once you're going to be able to get the right accuracy on your champions, you know? And that's kind of like how it plays with him. He reads like an amazing. A lot of people think that, my God, he's going to change the account. But once you get him, and we had a guaranteed event, like, I'm curious how many people actually burned their 120 void shards that they had saved up to go and get Supreme Kale as, wow, as an
Yeah, I
amazing
regret
champion.
it, man.
I feel like a lot of people didn't, you know, like
I tried to talk myself into being happy about it. I'm like, no, I'll find a use for him eventually, you know. And then I'm like, oh crap! Who do you think is the best? I'm curious.
I like Galek the most out of it. Like I feel
Same.
like he just brings in value to whatever you are in the game. Early game, mid game progression, he's gonna offer you value. Kale at the moment, he's not bringing anything to the end game, you know. And some people will be like, no, it's just that we're not whales and we're gonna use him. It's hard to replace somebody to put him in there instead, thinking that he's gonna do magic, you know. But in the future, if we're gonna get like some extreme content where we need like 1000 accuracy, we need 700-800 resistance, that's when Supreme Kale is gonna be extremely powerful because he's so unique, you know. So definitely,
so true.
Definitely don't regret it if you went for it, you know.
Yeah, like I kind of regret going for it just because I would have rather waited, I guess, if I'd known that I wasn't going to use him at all. But to your point, and again, I said it like twice, I'll stop belaboring the point here and I'll let you go, but he's not like a bad champion. He's just not as good as I was hoping for.
100%.
Anyway,
I totally agree on it. So I'm going to go with a champion that I thought that was not going to be great, but it's actually amazing. And I personally love this epic champion, and that's no one else but Alika. You know, we have Sikara Alika, the librarian chicks. They love reading books like no one else in the entire game. And I really thought she was... Yeah, like 18 books or 19 books each one of them. It's pretty crazy. I really thought that she's not really gonna do much, you know, like, yeah, some people say she deals damage, her base stats don't look that amazing in terms of attack, but man, she hits so freaking hard. Like, honestly, she deals so much damage. I love her in my faction war teams. Like, she definitely cut off at least 30 seconds of me farming that, you know. And even if you want to use her as an arena nuker, a stack team arena or something like that extra, or in a dungeon to clear waves, man, she is amazing. So with the A1 attacks an enemy, then the A2 attacks one enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense if their HP is higher than this champion, which will be the case most likely. And this fully booked will be on a 2-turn cooldown. Like, this has a 6-point multiplier. It's just crazy the amount of damage you're gonna get out of this skill. And of course, you have the A3 on a 3-turn cooldown fully booked, 100% chance to increase the cooldowns of all enemy skills by 2 turns, and a lot of damage out of it. And the passive, if she's together with the sister, she gets to be revived, which is not that relevant. But the rest of the kit is really, really strong. I love it.
And you didn't even mention her abs, man.
I know, yeah. See, I was waiting for you to say that. Yeah.
I feel like her and Fane are like in an ab contest here. Best in the game. But yeah, man, I agree with you. She's really cool for control, you know, and damage. You know, that's a 2-turn cooldown on that A2. So yeah, man, I like that champion a lot as well.
What do you have next?
Next, I'll go with one. I'm gonna go with the exact opposite of Supreme Kale. This is a champion who's not the best in the game, right? But I had so low expectations, and I'll be quick on this one because nobody has even heard of this champion. but I had so low expectations, and then I was kind of pleasantly surprised with Ginro the Stork. I don't know, Shadowkin Void, legendary.
Yeah.
So this dude, if you look at the ratings on him, right? I'm like, dude, I looked at his kit quickly, and I looked at those ratings, and I was like, man, he's not even worth building, right? But then I was on the clan versus clan, you know how that goes. I had to, you know, use my books on something, you know, and I'm like, all right, I need to help the clan out. I'm going to book up Ginro
Sorry,
the Stork,
which champion was it, Ash? Because I can't find it.
Ginro the Stork, the last dude in Shadowkin Void. Legendary.
Ginro. Legendary. I was looking at epics, bro. Okay. So if you can start again with the champion.
Yeah, sure. So where do you want me to start?
Just the name, like, say, is...
Okay. So no one's ever heard of this dude, but it's Ginro the Stork, Shadowkin Void, legendary champion. I looked at the reviews on this dude, and I looked at his kit, and I'm like, dude, he's not gonna. The only thing he's gonna win is the longest nose contest in Raid Shadowland. That's the only thing he's gonna do. You know, so I'm looking at him. He actually looks pretty cool, though. You know, but I'm like, dude, he's gonna be the trashiest champion in the game, like up there, right? And I have to say that he's not the worst legendary. Actually, I think that personally, I think he's how do I say this? He's not a top 20 worst legendary in the game. And to me, that was exceeding my expectations. So let me run you through the kit really quickly, right? He has on the A1 a 60% chance of increasing the cooldown of one of the target skills by 2 turns at random, and then go right to the A3. He's got increased defense and a 3-turn counterattack on himself. So basically, he's a defense-based decreasing cooldown of skills on the A1, right? Go to the A2. He attacks one enemy on a 3-turn cooldown with a 2-turn stun that ignores block debuffs and block damage, right?
That's
so
not too bad,
basically,
actually,
yeah, you can lock out anybody. It doesn't matter if they have block debuffs, right? So it's a great lockout. I mean, obviously you have to worry about the cleanse being the only kind of downside, but on the passive, right? It gets even better here because go to the second line when attacking. When attacking, converts this champion's resistance into accuracy.
That's nice.
So you build him to be this high, the opposite of Mithrala, right?
Yeah.
You build him with like as much resistance as you possibly can, and then that's his accuracy. So he's always going to be hopefully reducing the cooldowns on the A1, landing his stun on the A2 that cannot be resisted, blocked, whatever. And at the end of this champion's turn, places a provoke debuff on all enemies under increased attack. Now that is on a 4-turn cooldown, but it's good against like an arbiter or a faster team, right? So you add that all together, and he's like a very sneaky, decent control option that's tough to kill, and you don't have to worry about accuracies. You can build him like as a super high resist tank. So yeah, man, he kind of like actually impressed me, you know, because I had such low expectations going in.
Actually, yeah, and you were right. Like how you mentioned, a lot of people don't know about him. Like I still have the fragments for the champion because I haven't clicked on summon yet, you know. But that's I was like,
okay.
which one is the champion, you know? But definitely pretty sneaky kit actually, yeah. And
Yeah,
I can definitely see it usable, yeah.
You could throw him into live arena and people would like laugh at you and be like, "Are you serious?" And then like he could be surprisingly annoying to deal with, you know? I feel like
100%, yeah.
All right, who you got?
So, because we are at the Shadowkins, I'm gonna have to go here and talk about Gorey, man. Like I thought that he was gonna be much better with the new Fire Knight dungeon and all this, but I'm disappointed. Like I've made a video, I'm wrong on it. I was wrong on it, so apologies. Value search on freeze champions, and guess what? I got smacked from the left side, and then I turned my cheek and I got smacked again by the whole idea of a value search with the freeze champions. So he is pretty okay as a champion. I really thought that, my god, the Fire Knight will be here. Gorey is gonna be the new Allure, the new king of Fire Knight. And oh boy, was I wrong or no? Hell yeah, I was very wrong actually. It's just the freeze is not as effective as I thought it is. So I'm a bit let down by it. You know, what do you think about it?
I have not built a Fire Knight 10 team. I have your video bookmarked, and I'm like, eventually I'll get around to building that stupid team. So
yeah, exactly.
I can't speak to it, man. I don't use I built Gorey, and I did, you know, some Fire Knight. I don't know, 6 or something like that, 5, whatever. The Force Affinity level was, and I was like, he was serviceable, I guess. You know, he was a serviceable champion. He didn't blow me away, but you know. So what are you saying? He's worse than you thought?
Yeah, I think he's worse than I thought because he's just not bringing all that firepower than I expected from him. You know, like all the freeze is just so hard to kind of like make it work. The speeds on the bosses are different, and you know, in a way, it's not necessarily his fault as a champion. You know, it's just maybe the whole mechanic behind it, but it's just the expectation that you had. Oh my god, he's gonna be the GOAT for it, you know, and then you're like, oh my god, you need a Cardiel and Valkyrie.
You know what though? You could say the same thing, I feel like, about, he's not on my list, but you could probably say the same thing about Stalker, you know, like that rare champion. Granted, he's great. Like same thing with Gorey in earlier levels. I feel like
exactly. I was gonna say, yeah.
But then we found like other methods that probably are just a little bit easier, you know?
Like I'm using him on stage 7 on the Sand Devils Necropolis Max Stalker, but if you go on the higher chances,
I take it back.
But it's stage 7, so it's kind of like proven point of what you were saying. But on higher stages, it's hard to make it work.
Yeah, but you definitely can. I apologize to Stalker fans out there. I feel like I'm going to offend people with that one. But I guess I was saying in the sense of like a champion that has this one ability for a new boss that we're like, okay, it's going to be broken. And then like, you're like, okay, there's other ways to do this as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be, yeah. What do you have next?
I have 2 left. I have one that's worse than I thought and one that's better. You want the better or the worse first?
Up to you. Surprise us.
We'll go with the better. This is an old school champion. It's a Void epic champion from the Orc faction, and it's Tuok the Wanderer, man. I really love this champion, dude. I really love this champion.
He's strong, actually, yeah.
He's got a double hitter, increasing the cooldown of target skills, increase the cooldown of all the target skills if they have less than 50% HP when attacking on each hit. First of all, like, that's a really good of A1, man. Like, that's
very
a
strong,
really strong A1. Then Whirl of Battle, he's one of like the only, I think there's only like 5 champions in the game, or 6 or something like that. The very few amount that have a 3-turn cooldown, 100% decreased speed. And he's one of them. He's one of the only epics.
Yeah.
Like, that's just an addition, another add-on that you get with a lot of damage and everything else he's bringing in his kit, right? He's got a self-heal. He's got to increase speed to himself, all in this Whirl of Battle that actually is a really good AoE attack. On the A3, he's stealing 50% of the target's turn meter, which is great. He's landing a stun. He's doing a lot of damage. He'll steal 100% of the turn meter instead if they have less than 50% HP when attacking, man. Like, that's a really solid kit, dude. It really is. And then he has a damage mitigation on Ironheart on his passive, and attack in all battles, which sometimes I run him as, like, I think in Faction Wars I run him as my Aura lead. So, Tuok, I'm a big fan of this dude.
Yeah, he's definitely very strong, and this is one of the champions that I was gonna put on my list as well if you weren't gonna have him, because he's definitely performing much better than expected as a champion all around. 100%.
Very good kit, man.
My next champion is actually going to be a legendary, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it as well. It's going to be no one else but Lord Shamford. So I kind of like felt like, yeah, he's okay-ish, but he's just not doing that much, you know. But man, I was really wrong on this champion. Like, he just does so much, actually. Like, the A1, you have a defense down. The A2, you have decreased attack, decreased accuracy. You have the passive with the shield and dropping decreased speed whenever they break the shield on the champion, which is very nice. And the aura, man, 50% HP in dungeons, like, so amazing for the Iron Twins Fortress, for example. I'm loving him there, you know, like, whenever it's not Force Affinity, I'm using him over Krisk in the Iron Twins Fortress, just because the decreased speed is so reliable compared to Krisk, for example, you know.
Yeah, man, I actually totally agree with you. I think that Champ 4 is a really solid champion. He's actually a champion that I sadly don't use much. But man, if I pulled this dude on my mini account or something, like, he would be such a carry. And maybe I should be using him. I don't know. I haven't built. I have used him in the past. But, like, that aura, dude.
It's crazy, yeah?
That is nuts, man. And to have decreased accuracy, decreased attack, and decreased defense, like, 3 great debuffs there in his kit. Very solid champion. So yeah, I agree, man.
What we have next? I think you're right.
My last champion is going to be worse than expected, and it's a Selvin Watcher, and it's a guy that I'm really bummed out, man. I was excited when I pulled him, and it's Green Warden Ruark. Dude, something about... Yeah, he looks really cool. Like, I was excited, man. His base, a lot of defense on this dude. He has, like, that kind of pretty cool passive. Whenever an ally loses 10% or more than max HP from a single hit, plays a shield on them. Like, that's pretty cool on a 1-turn cooldown, or on a 0-turn cooldown, right? Defense in all battles. Like, his kit's not that bad, but his big money ability, Call of the Wild, is a taunt to increase defense and a strengthen on himself on a 4-turn cooldown. Taunt, I'm just not impressed with at all, man. I mean, it's like so weak compared to Provoke. And I understand that it should be a little bit weak compared to Provoke because it doesn't require a resistance accuracy check. But it's just like, dude, I feel like Taunt barely ever works, man. Like, you know, like, I don't know, man.
So irrelevant.
I don't Yeah, it's like, I feel like it's irrelevant, man. And it's only 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown anyway. Every AoE is not going to matter. The enemies can do whatever they want. They can work around the taunt. You know, I don't know. I think that taunt, it's weird, man. They introduced it to the game. Only 2 champions still have it. It's not like Hex, where I felt like when they introduced Hex, they like shoved it down our throats. And
with
every
a lot
champion
of them.
There was a lot of them. But taunt, they haven't touched since. And I don't know, man. I'm just not a big fan of the buff, and because of that, his kit all revolves around that taunt, and it's just not. it's weak, man. You can't even use it in the arena. Like, I tried everything on this dude, man. I built him in 6-piece stone skin. I'm like, oh yeah? Have some taunt. And it's just like, it doesn't do anything, man. Like, it doesn't work. Everybody just AoEs, or whatever, So I don't know.
It's just irrelevant as a debuff, 100%. Like, they definitely need to adjust that.
I don't know what they would do to it though, because like, to make it that everybody could only use their A1 against him, I think that might be too big of a buff, So I don't know how you would fix taunt,
Yeah, it's pretty hard. Like, I don't think we're supposed to have taunt in the game next to provoke. Like, it's either one or the other, Like,
right?
It's a bit hard in my opinion too.
Maybe like you were talking about with Supreme Kale. Maybe at one point in the game there'll be an immune provoke enemy that there's no way to get him other than taunt, and maybe I'll have a use for him. So he'll be chilling in the vault until then.
Yeah, like, I'm glad I haven't pulled him yet, honestly.
All right, well, that's my last guy, man. That's if any of your viewers have found a great use for him, I'd be interested in hearing it. So let us know.
Let us know in the comments down below, 100%, because I'm very curious about that too. Like, where are you using that champion if you got him? I'm gonna move over to my last champion that I have on the list and this is no one else but Claude Beastfeeder. So he, all around as a champion, felt decent, but I feel like he kind of like surpassed my expectations. Yeah, increased accuracy, increased speed was gonna be great for arena, but so many people are using the champion in a lot of areas in the game. Plus, you can make clan boss teams with him because of a 2-to-1 ratio, and you're getting the decreased crit rate, which again is super powerful against bosses, right? Like, being able to block the bosses to crit you, constantly keeping them on a pretty much the same level of damage is absolutely massive.
Yep.
Then you're getting the shield on all your allies on a 3-turn cooldown, great for faction wars, great to give you a bit of extra support, and the passive with a bit of healing as well at the start of each turn. Plus, he has amazing base stats, so I feel like he definitely surpassed my expectations as a champion.
Yeah, great call out there. He really does have legendary-esque base stats, which help a lot, help everything gets a little bit better, and he brings like 2 really important buffs: increased speed, increased accuracy, plus that shield based on his HP, which scales very well. And you're right about that, a decreased crit damage, very helpful, especially in clan boss, So totally agree with this guy. I'm really a big fan of Claude as well.
Absolutely. But guys, these are pretty much the champions that we kind of like got wrong. We were wrong about them. Let us know your champions in the comments down below. We're curious to know which one of the champions you guys got wrong, either for the good, either for the bad. Ash, a pleasure to have you on the channel as always, brother. Guys, appreciate all of you guys watching, and I'm gonna catch you soon in the next video. Peace.